We're good now. Sorry about that, guys. You would think I get this all figured out by now. See, technology is just the fun. I'll tell you that, Murad. You just, you try to be smarter than the technology. You just be like, hey, I'm going to have all this cool stuff, and then it all goes to hell. That's what happens.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, no, I actually work in IT, so I feel the sentiment there completely.
I will say, yeah, if you don't get on, then we're really going to have an issue because look, I mean, come on. Of course, you would have that. So, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Really appreciate it, everybody. Please continue to like the live. Please share it out. Please continue to talk in the chat. So happy to have Murad with us tonight. It's going to be a great conversation, and he has got some stuff going. We were talking about this the other day, so I can't wait for him to talk a little bit more about what he's got in front of him. But this is Frag Talk Live Midweek Edition, where we come on here and we talk to one of the, some of the best fragrance content creators that we have in the game. And we've got a great one tonight, and looking forward to getting to know him better and learning a little bit more about why he does what he does and why he does it so darn well. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. So thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate you. So talk to us about what you got in front of you there, Murad.
So I got a couple stuff, just things I've been wearing a lot. This is Nusaj from Oman Luxury. It's probably one of my favorite citruses that give it a Middle Eastern twist. Famoa, this is Sugarloaf. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name, but it's a pineapple gourmand, and it's a fragrance. I typically don't lean for that style, but I really like this. I don't like pineapple, and I don't like gourmands typically, but this one just does it. This is Oud Zuhal from Amouage. This is a GCC exclusive for Amouage. It's a very interesting oud blend because it opens up pretty barnyardy, and then it dries down pretty softly. It's not like it doesn't smell strong on skin, but it projects like crazy. I think Blue Oud does the same way in Amouage. This is my electronic Bahur burner. It puts me in the right mood, so I usually do this, and this was my first creation that I ever did with a brand.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
so you got to talk to me a little bit about that. I don't think I was aware that you had done some creation. So look, you're schooling me right now already.
Yeah, actually, this we did a small release. So I don't know if you ever heard of Ruhul Ward, which means soul of rose, that Amouage did. And one of the main essences that they used in that, we used in this. But it's extremely expensive. You're looking at like 10,000 USD per kilogram. And we were able to source literally like, I think it was like 100 grams of it. And we only did about 40 bottles. Those 40 bottles sold out in 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we recently got another batch of that rose essence, that's used in this primarily. And and we will hopefully be launching in August. Fingers crossed on that. And that's like, I'm not even supposed to be saying that, but fingers crossed. Hopefully it's supposed to be in August. We had an earlier release date, but we had to push it back. Sorry, not August, September.
Hey, good things take time. Good things take time, and it's worth the wait.
Yeah, and then this is also an exclusive, I guess you could say. I have another one that I'll probably release in December of this year. I was in the UK recently, and this was one of the biggest reasons I went. And that's something else on the side. This is like, I haven't featured this in a video or anything. That's like completely down there.
Oh, well, thank you. I feel honored, man. I appreciate you doing that, and that's exciting. I just love seeing I can see it in your face. I can see how excited you are, and I love that because that's how the creative process works, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's I definitely think like in perfumery, and maybe we could touch upon this later. A lot of people give hype to what I would say is the perfumer, right? That's behind the fragrance. But I think the common character, and I like to call them the brain, but there's an industry word for them too, the creative director behind it. For example, if you look at Renaud Salman, what he's done with Amouage recently, and just like brought it back to light, in my opinion. I think the previous creative director wasn't doing as good of a job. And I hold that in his respect. There's a niche perfume house out of France, and it's named after, what's up, my brother? That's named after herself, Vernie Gabay. She's the lady behind Azaro Chrome. Yeah. So it's like you find all these like crazy correlations that most people don't know about. And she has like this Eau de Azur, which is like this beautiful aquatic fragrance that nuclear, like 10 hours easy.
I mean, it's so important. I mean, it's funny because I was reading a book recently about this, a little bit more about creative directors and perfumers and how they work together, and how you can go back and forth. And sometimes a creative director could be the biggest pain in the you know what to the perfumer,
Yeah.
because it is so hard to kind of sometimes get what they're looking for. But they know in their mind and in the briefing and kind of what they're trying to do, they know what they're trying to accomplish. And
Yeah.
it's such an art. And I think that's one of the things that I love that a lot of people don't take the time to understand is how many different pieces of this industry have to come together to make a product truly spectacular. Like, it's not just one person. I mean, it's a ton of people,
Yeah.
and it can be a ton of different samples, and just the process is not linear. Like, it's going to look different probably every release that's ever happened has looked a little bit different in the way that it goes. And I just think that's a fascinating part of the story, and I'm glad that you know that. And yeah, I'm sure that you find the same love in that fact.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I spend a lot of time, I guess, educating myself about fragrance. I've done a lot of reading on the outside on some stuff, a lot of reading recently on oud. I had a friend of mine that I've made through, having social media, that he's one of the main oud exporters on the planet. And I would say, like, you have brand names like Clive Christian that source from him and etc. And he actually wrote a book. And that book really breaks down the art of oud and etc. And I believe something, and he was telling me one of the craziest things is that he's like 70% of my book sales are in the US. I wasn't expecting that. He was expecting UAE, that region, or Europe more. But he's like, US is just doing crazy for me. And I think that's like a notion to, I think it's becoming, I don't think it'll ever go away from this, but I think perfumery is getting to a point where it's more about, what's the art truly behind it rather than does this smell good? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because it's funny the way that and I've thought about this a lot too. It's like with all the different creations and all the new releases that come out, it's like, man, have we reached peak fragrance? Like, have we smelled all the things that there are to smell and all the different combinations? Because sometimes it feels that way, right? It's like, how
Yeah.
many times do I want to smell something that reminds me of something else or is in the same DNA? I think a lot of us, as we get further along in our collecting and further along in kind of the things that we try, we feel like we hit a point where things remind us of something else, like what is really new and unique. And I think sometimes that's where people get into the niche and kind of start going down that rabbit hole a little bit, because they're just looking for anything that is different. And um, I don't know, do you find that to be the case, or have you?
So
Because you have a pretty extensive collection, my friend.
yeah, so I up until recently when I used to hit like the 80 bottle count, either declutter or give away. But literally now it's gotten to a point for me where, sniff something. If it's something good, add it. If not, sorry. If I love it, add it. If not, it's not getting added. Plain and simple. It's not getting a video. I literally had like 6 fragrances show up today unannounced. Took a sniff of each one and I was like, not worth it. And it's, like that's the one thing I feel like happens a lot, especially when it comes to content creators is hoarding. Like, and not to shoot shame at anyone, do as you wish. It's your money. But for me personally, I could never have a collection and not like I wore that fragrance once, unless you're like a decanter, then it's something different. But for me, like I was talking to a Frag Will that's he's in here, and I was like, I just really want to know all the fragrances. That I just want to know all of them to the point where, and I don't know if you've seen some of my recent videos that I'm basically blindfolding myself and I'm like guessing from my collection, like, what is this? And I want to be able to know how to do that. And I feel like that's something that we've lost. Like if you look at some of my bottles, this is like, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, that's a heck of a dent.
Like I'm trying to, like, if I really like something, I'm trying to dent it. Like it's not to the point of, and that's the thing, like when you come to, I'm going on spirals here, so feel free to pull me
No,
back.
this is perfect. I love this.
It's like, especially with content creation nowadays, and I'm guilty of it too. And this is the unfortunate thing. The adrenaline of blind buy unboxing and doing the review with the blind buy, it's an immediate hook. It keeps the retention of the viewer. They're waiting. You're getting your average watch time to the 20-second mark where you finally pull the bottle out, put it on a tester and go, yes or no. And guilty as charged, I've done the same content too. Would I probably stop? No, because it gets the views. Do I always do a follow up where I put at least 3, 4, you know, um, wears onto a fragrance and do a review? Yes. And it really just goes from there for me. But what I'm anti is, you're getting a check for the video, and I'm not against you making money. I make money from videos too, but it's, hey, this brand sent me this fragrance. I'm gonna do. I'm quoted to do one video for them. My one video is gonna be blind buy unboxing. Boom, gas, go buy it. That I cannot agree with.
I know.
Um, but for me personally, I've done it where I'm like, I'll say it in the video, I'm like, guys, I'm gonna do a full review after this is worth it for me. I won't be like, yeah, guys, you need to go get this. This is my first time putting on a tester. Like I'm very anti that. Very anti that.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Murad, for those of you that are learning about you for the first time, well, number one, they shouldn't. They need to be making sure that they're following you, and make sure you give him a follow and a like. I know he's already at about 37,000 followers, so I think you're doing pretty good, my friend.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome to see that the rise that you've had and the journey that you've been on. But talk to us a little bit about how long you've been in content creation and fragrance, how long you've been into fragrance, and I just kind of want to get to know you a little bit better from that perspective, just so people that may not know your story.
Yeah. So fragrance has been it's very in tune with the culture. I would argue ever since like it's a religious thing as well. That perfumery is very in depth with what I would say is Islamic culture and Islamic religion. So because of that, like when I used to do well in religious classes younger, we would get fragrance. Hey, let me give you some of this nice oud on you, put it on. Where that was like, so my introduction into stuff is very different than what I would say the typical designer level someone gifted to you. I did have an experience like that too, but I didn't own a Louis Vuitton. Well, sorry. Except for one fragrance, I didn't own any Louis Vuittons until December of last year. Um, and maybe like designer, I had Tuscan leather for the longest time since I was like 2017. So I was about 17 years old back then. And so basically came into collecting, had a bunch of like different stuff. One of the fragrances my mom got me, and this is the first one that I can remember that wasn't an oil, but it was like an alcohol, was Jimmy Choo Man. I still own the bottle. Um, no, so I don't even know what it's called, to be honest with you. So it's my oldest bottle.
You just said Jimmy Choo, and I thought, what the heck? I had it right next to me. How did that? I mean, not that one. I have Jimmy Choo Man, but I just had the bottle right next to me. Look at that.
And it's like you could see that the metal has faded completely on the top, and it has leather on the cap. I don't know. It's my oldest bottle. The smell has faded. Because I wasn't smart when I was a kid, and I used to put this in the bathroom because I didn't know any better.
Yeah. It's nostalgic, though, right? I mean, it reminds you of. I mean, that's pretty awesome that was the first thing your mom got. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the earliest spray fragrance that I can remember wearing. I went through, always had a bunch of Middle Eastern stuff. From what would become more popular later on. Ibrahim al Qureshi, Gissa with the huge atomizers, they became pretty viral. And a whole bunch of just like other stuff. Some of the stuff that when I used to go to the Middle East, we would pick up, they wouldn't have names. It would be something like this and just wear that. And then I actually, like I mentioned earlier, I was in technology. I am in technology, sorry. So last year around October, I had gotten laid off in March and I was jobless for a couple months. And I remember going to this job interview, and it was 7 interviews. Very long process, but it was going to be like my dream job, basically, in tech. I would be customer facing, but I was doing projects on a customer basis, which is really enjoyable because you can see the results really fast. Um, and it, it was like, I don't wear Western clothes. I bought a suit for this, the first suit I ever wanted. Went, got it tailored and went to the interview, did the 7 rounds. The last round was 2 hours in person. And at the end of it, they're like, hey, man, like, we really like you. You were the number 2. The number 1 guy was 10 years older than you and had 10 years more of experience and was just more mature. I was like, okay. And I came home that day and I was like, you know what, bro, I got to do something. Like, it's just a need. That was probably in June or July of last year. And then I started planning. I'm very sophisticated when it comes to finances, where I'm spending. As I mentioned when we were on call the last time on Saturday, I believe, I don't use credit cards. Everything is cash. So I was like, look, what can I move around asset wise so that I can invest into content and into fragrances? Because I knew it was going to get expensive really fast. So I took my best asset at the time, which was my BMW, sold it for like 10K plus, and downgraded to a 2002 Honda Civic. Um, Everyone thought I was crazy. They're like, because I was always known to have like, nicer cars. It's something that I really enjoy also. So I took that investment. I wouldn't say like I splurged everything, but bought a decent like an extra muse that's like a DJI, bought microphones, and basically started. But the way I would do it in the beginning was I was like, I'm not gonna pay retail. I'm not gonna buy off TTK shop. I'm gonna go to wholesalers and pay them in cash. So I could buy 20 fragrances at a time, review them, and then go from there. And I basically did that rinse and repeat till December for about 2 months. Like I don't know if you've seen Asaf that's going like viral now. I had a wholesaler from Saudi that would send it to me at like $20 a bottle. And then I would review them, use like 5 to 10 mLs, and then sell them. For like double what I got it for. So I was reinvesting. Eventually, I was always into niche. Amouage, been a big fanboy, and just really was like ventured in. At one point, I did think I was gonna stop speaking about alternative like fragrances like the dupe world. Um, and I was thinking about that. I was thinking of pivoting away because of a moral thing. I became conflicted in the sense of, is this stealing? Yes or no? Now, I I'm not gonna say it in a moral perspective, but I went to my religious teachers. I was like, "Hey guys,
for sure.
like, what is the ruling on this? Is this allowed in when it comes to is there such thing as copyright in Islam?" That was basically my question.
Sure.
So they explained it, and there's a couple in Islam. There's a principle basically in the sense of, if say for example me and Frag are doing a deal, and Frag is charging me $30 for 100 ml. Dean cannot come in the middle and be like, "Hey bro, I'm offering it for 15." But we're already in business discussions. So it's basically right a sale. Now, when it comes to perfumery, and it's very interesting that what the comparison I'm about to make, but in perfumery, everyone is duping everybody. That's the honest truth. This fragrance I'm going to show you, and most people will probably not be able to agree with me on this at first, but when they research it, they'll realize this is a dupe.
Outlands?
Outlands is a dupe.
Really?
These two are dupes. Oh, sorry, not Ombre Levant. I don't know about. I thought this was Ombre Nomad. Sorry.
Okay. Well, yeah, same thing applies though.
So this is Artisius. This is from a Pakistani owned house in the UK, and he sells this 30 ml, 15 ml for about $30. That creamy, rich, dry down that you get in Outlands is a Middle Eastern DNA that's existed for over 2,000 years.
Wow.
Same thing as the Saber's Rose. That rose oud combination has existed for over 1,000 years. Aubrey Nomad, same thing. That DNA has existed for over 1,000 years.
But you know what I love about what you did there, though, is that I love it. Like, I love that you lead with your faith. I think that is awesome. Like, I respect that. You know what out of that, because that has not. I mean, that is at your core, who you are as a person, and you lead with that. And I love that you even thought through those things. And I think that is. I think that's phenomenal. I don't know if you've talked about that ever. I don't know if you've ever talked about that on any of the lives about how important that is to you. But similar to what you were talking about earlier, it kind of reminded me. So I grew up, I still am. I'm a Catholic Christian, but I remember the smells. I remember the smells of the oils, and I remember the smells of the different incense and things that were used. And like, there's a couple fragrances I have now that I got just because of that. So it's kind of funny you were talking about like growing growing up and the things that you smelled and the things that were a part of your religious teaching, and then like, that is nostalgic for you now. And it's so funny that I have kind of that same thing, but a different religion, and I think that's beautiful in a
Yeah,
lot of ways. But I didn't know. Did you mind talking a little bit about more about your faith and
yeah,
kind of
man.
how that yeah.
So definitely, I would say I wasn't always. So I'm born and raised in Miami. No one believes me when I say that. They're like, there's no way. Even Middle Eastern people, they're like, nah, bro, where were you actually born? I'm like, no, I'm born and raised in Miami. I'm Will can attest to how Miami I am when people see me here, especially when I switch into Spanish, because I have a Cuban accent in my Spanish. So I would say there was a point, especially in high school, where I really was trying to fit in with society. I was trying to, be one of the cool kids. And it was very common, especially in high school and then leading into college. I had an epiphany when I was, I would say like 20 or 21. And yeah, I remember like it was a very random night. I was sitting somewhere and I just looked and started thinking to myself, I was like, yo, is this the way that I really want to live? And cold turkey, like flip my whole life. And this is a crazy lore. I actually used to be a personal trainer for a little bit while I was in school. So I spent a lot of time in gyms, and music for the predominant part is not allowed in Islam. So I was spending 10 hours a day blasting music basically, because you work at a gym and then you work out yourself. So it was very difficult for me emotionally and mentally, because it's like you're constantly, and there's even studies now out there about the effects of music that it has on positive sometimes, sure. But for me, it was mostly negative, because it was like high EDM, like back to back for 10 hours a day. And basically I'm like mentally raving for 10 hours, right? And
Sure.
this gym that I worked at, they had it like cranked. So COVID happens. So pre-COVID, the week before COVID, I go through something mentally. I'm actually gonna go. I'm pedaling back a little bit.
No.
Um, and I was working at the gym. I have this crazy injury where I was about. So let me pull back even more. Sorry.
This is
Uh,
good. That's what we want. We want to get to know you.
yeah. So in high school, I weighed about 430 pounds. I by the time that I was at prom senior year of high school, I had dropped down to about 300 flat, so about 125 pounds. By my first year of college, I was already at like 213. That's around the time that I became a trainer. Six pack abs, like the typical Miami look, right?
Sure.
Obviously, so fast forwarding back right before COVID 2020, this is 2017, jump to 2020. So I was trainer for about 3 years while going to school. Um, I get, I tear my hamstring in four spots, the week before basically COVID shut down. So injury on top of, I guess you could call it, um, like just mental stress of everything. And it actually happened in the gym. There was a kid that was squatting. I was off the clock when it happened, and he was squatting a weight that he was supposed to be. He was at the bottom of his rep. And I was like, oh, maybe he's doing something like a pause squat or something. And I was like, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. I'm like, yo, this guy's been under there for like 6 seconds. This is not good. So I run up behind the kid. And if you've ever done anything barbell, you can just let it go. It's not going to hit you, just because it literally rolls off your shoulder. So I'm looking at the guy behind him like, bro, just let go, let go. But he has noise canceling headphones on. So he doesn't understand what I was saying. I think he meant I'm gonna catch it. I don't know what. So the kid ends up going up like a half inch and then throwing it back at me. So I caught 225 in the air and then like a single leg deadlift going down. I thought I was fine. I was like, that did not feel good, but I'll be fine. The next day, I had a lot of trouble walking. A lot of trouble. Um, and I thought it was just soreness. The doctor's like, no, bro, you got 4 tears. Not full tears, partial tears, but it was 4 of them. And that was not fun. I was doing boxing a lot at the time, amateur boxing. And I was thinking of going for my first pro fight, but it never ended up happening because of the injury. And then COVID happens. I go through a whole bunch of stuff. And then the epiphany happens 1 year post COVID in 2021. And that's when I was like, you know what, bro? Like, I've done a bunch of crazy stuff. And I don't feel any happiness in it. And I want to be able to display my inner self outwardly freely. We live in America. I think one of the most beautiful things about this country is that we have the liberty to do basically anything we want, as long as we're not hurting ourselves or anyone around us. In essence,
Yeah.
for the most part. Um, and it's funny. I'm gonna say this, but any person outside of my face that sees me like wearing these clothes everywhere, because you're not mandated to technically, they're like, "Yo, what are you doing? Like, this is extra." Everyone else is like, "Yo, this is the coolest thing ever."
No, it really it's so funny you say that because you're exactly right. Like like I've noticed it right away. I was like, man, I'm like, I love this because it goes against probably some of the stereotypes people have. Like, oh, if I'm so focused on my faith and everything, I can't like fragrance or like I can't be a social media content influencer or like yeah, I thought it was so great. Like even because I did not know about the music thing, and then when you sent me a message said, hey, do you mind if you repost this? I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely do that. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that makes complete sense. Didn't knew that. I didn't know that. So you help educate me too. I thought that was great.
Yeah, and then it's actually very beautiful in the sense that like so most of these fragrance events that you go to, they all have music blasting. I typically I'm there for like 20 to 30 minutes and then I'm gone. Um, so it's interesting because my own people typically were like, "Oh, bro, like you're super religious. What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm here for business." Like for example, I go to the gym. I was at the gym an hour and a half ago. And they blast music. I can't do anything about it. It's out of my control.
Yeah.
So it's there. Or like you're in education. How many like documentaries, etc., that we watch in school? They have music in them. I can't really do anything about it. So it's like there is a
It's a
great area
balance.
there. Yeah, but it's like I'm not going out of my way to go and pursue it.
That makes complete sense. That's. I mean, I appreciate you explaining that. That's really awesome. So you grew up in Miami. Where are you at now?
Miami, born and
Oh, you're
raised.
still in Miami. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. But I
awesome.
would never like. I tell everybody if there's any city in the U.S. I'll live in is Miami. I don't want to go anywhere else.
That
Uh,
is awesome.
this is
Now, what's
like
it about Miami? Because some people say I'm not good looking enough to be in Miami, like like those types of things. Like, so
you see.
tell me about what
I
makes
think
Miami Miami.
so. I think the most beautiful thing that everyone's either first or second generation here for the predominant part. Everyone's trying to fit in, and it's funny because I tell people whenever I travel out, like I was in London and in Paris a couple weeks ago, and like when I didn't hear Spanish for so long, it feels like dry. And I remember getting back to Miami International Airport, it has like a distinct smell to it, and I wouldn't say it's very pleasing, but it's like it's something that reminds you of Miami. So, and then I start hearing the Spanish again, and it just feels like home. And it's some people are like, like nobody really no one speaks English in Miami, this or that. I'm like, I find that beautiful. Because it's like when I speak Spanish, especially with people that don't expect me to, like it lights up their face. They're like, oh my God, this kid's like next level. And it really opens them up. And I don't think I would have that anywhere else as much as in Miami. Because we have whole districts where it's only Spanish. There's no English at all.
I love that
And
when Chewy does that in his lives. I'm sitting there watching Chewy and he's in his lives and he's doing his thing and then he switches over to Spanish and back and I'm just like, I love it.
yeah, Chewy switches into a hard Mexican accent. So some words he says so fast, I'm like, I don't know what he said. What's up, JR? How's everything? And then especially in Cosmoprof in Miami, when I met all these Latino creators, I was like, oh, como está, papá? Like I'm speaking like, hey, what's up in Spanish? They all looked at me like, whoa.
Have you met Cuba? No. Have you
Yeah,
met
I'm like Cuba. Cuba.
oh,
Oh, I'm
Cuba.
telling you, I
Oh,
spoke Spanish, and we were at the Rayhan event, and I was like, "Hey, brother, pleasure to meet you." No, I said "que hola," which means like "what's up" in Cuban slang, and he just looks at me. He goes, "Nah, what did you just say?" I'm like, "I said this," and he looks at me. He goes, "Nah, bro, this is crazy." And we're just chopping it up for like 15 minutes. And I remember somebody else came up to us when we were chopping it up, and they just looked at Cuba, looked at me, and they were like, "Whoa, wait a second, what the hell's going on here?" So
you're breaking down all kinds of barriers. You guys are just I'm telling you, I love it. I
yeah,
love it. Now you got to talk to me about what you got behind you too, man. I see that up there back in the back there. Is it?
the swords.
Yeah.
So the top sword is actually a Pakistani display sword. It has like the testament of faith on it, which it translates to there's no one worthy of worship but God, and Muhammad is his messenger. It's up there. I don't want to bring it down because
No. Yeah.
they might flag it. And the other one is just like a replica samurai sword that I
That's
just
pretty cool. Yeah, I noticed it. I've noticed it right away, but I knew it had a meaning. I knew it had something in particular. So I was kind of wondering what the reference was there for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit fragrance. I'm kind of curious a little bit about kind of your kind of journey in the space. So you kind of talked a little bit about, where you started and then also some of the fragrances that you're like your first one that you received that was an alcohol spray type fragrance. How has your nose changed over the time? Like where would you have classified yourself as a certain type of fragrance enthusiast and then you've changed it to different notes and different profiles, or you've talked about Amouage and you being a big fan of that house. Talk to us about your scent journey.
So I see this is a very great question. So my wedding scent was actually Vanilla Diorama from Dior. So Dean, I don't know if I lost you there, audio wise.
Now I've got you.
Oh, okay. Um, so that was like my wedding scent. I don't own the bottle anymore. I rinsed it. And I had an older dark batch, so I felt like it was a smoky vanilla. I would say there was a point where I thought vanilla was my favorite note. I think I've kind of faded out of there. I don't think I have a type, to be honest with you. As long as it's not like extreme gourmand, I like everything. I wear a lot of white florals that typically are labeled feminine a lot. And I think that's because I layer so much that it's become something that's very, I'm used to like just stacking scents and doing that. So I think when it comes to fragrances, we have seasons for them throughout the year, but my taste is pretty much very wide open. And it goes all over the place.
Yeah, I love that because I think that number one, I think it has something probably to do with your culture and kind of the way like layering. I noticed that those I've noticed that just even watching you and some of the videos that you've done, like you are a master of layering fragrances. Like kind of what works together and what doesn't. I'm like a deer in the headlights. Like I'm trying to figure out what goes what, and I overthink it too much. That's always been my problem with layering. And I think that I probably just need to not worry so much about it. Just try stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say. So I actually start from bottom up. I'd like to do that. So say for example, like if I know I'm feeling fresh, I'll go for something that's Emirati jasmine or something like that, or I guess like white floral, and then I can layer anything imagination, vibrato, anything citrusy fresh. If I know I want to go something deeper, I'll go something more oud rose or something like that as a base utter, and then go up. But my other collection, my oil collection is probably at like I would say 30 bottles or something like that, and I have some crazy stuff. Like over $1,000 for a 3 ml. That I didn't pay for. I'm very thankful for being gifted that. But you could smell stuff like that, and it's not something the average person would wear. And I'm saving that. I save stuff like that for special occasions.
Makes sense. I love that you shared your wedding scent though. Vanilla diorama. That is awesome. I have smelled it. I like it. I don't have a bottle of it, but that is something that I would. That's something that I kind of had on the wish list for a long time too to have. So
Yeah,
that's funny.
the newer bottles I don't think do justice. They gone less smoky to my nose. I don't like the new bottles. That's the only reason I don't have another one right now.
So thinking about smoky and oud and the Venetian oud, so the thing that kind of comes up is, have you smelled the new Sauvage yet? Have you smelled the one that came out that people are talking about?
I'm very like it's gonna sound very posh, but if it's basically not private line, I usually don't even go for it.
I will tell you as somebody who smelled it and just kind of hearing some things you're talking about, I think it's worth you smelling. I think it's very interesting, and it takes me on a journey. It is not linear. It's got this smoky, this. It's a more approachable oud, but it is more of a dark, smoky fragrance. And I don't know. You may just love it. It may just be the right mix for you. So if you get a chance to smell it sometime, I'd encourage you to try it.
Do you know if it's a oud accord or is it an actual oud in there?
Oh, I can't imagine it's an actual oud. I imagine it's an accord.
You'd be surprised. There's some cheaper ouds out there that are actually really good.
Oh, well, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I kind of figured it would. I kind of figured it would be an accord just because 50 mil, $205 with a Dior price tag. I'm like, I don't know. Could they make that work? I don't know.
I don't know, but sometimes they surprise you.
Yeah, that's good because they make it up in They have so much quantity there too. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, beast mode. Yeah, that is for sure. I know that will only be a 3 spray one for me, maybe two. That sucker lasts without a doubt. So you do not shy away from the fresh fragrance. I figured you wouldn't be in Miami. You probably would have to use the citrus fragrances a lot and
I
stuff like
mean,
that.
you see, that's the thing. I would disagree. I wear all. It doesn't matter for me. Like, I what do you call it? I wear all types of stuff whenever. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't believe in the whole. Like, okay, for example, right? We're in Dubai. We're in the middle of the desert. It's steaming hot. Those guys wear oud more than anybody. You've seen the videos.
I
First,
have.
burn the oud, then spray the oud, then the oud oil on the kandora and on the scarf and everything on the face. Dude, they're in the hottest environment possible, and I wouldn't say possible, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And they're wearing it like there's no okay. There is like some exceptions to this, but for I would say like the 99% of fragrances you can be fine. The only one that I'm very careful with, but at the same time I wore it yesterday is Purpose 50 by Watch.
Yeah, I've smelled that one. Yeah, that's probably a good one to be careful with. But
I can
why
still
are we
smell it.
Americans so scared about this? Why? Like I'm sitting here looking right now at like this, like the one that I really like, Red Tobacco by Mancera. Love this fragrance. I like tobacco fragrances. But I'm like, oh man, I can't wait till it gets cold and I can wear this again. Like I would be no way I would wear this.
See, that's one of those two that I don't like red tobacco. I overspray everything. The last time I had that in my collection, I sprayed it like 3 times, and I was like, dude, I cannot smell this all day. The dry down, beautiful.
It
But it
is.
takes
You
like an
gotta get
hour and a half to get to that creamy vanilla, and I'm like, dude, I do not want to wait that long.
Silky Woods, vanilla.
Not yet, no.
No,
So this is the thing. I'm guilty of this. That there's certain houses that I just like to explore.
that makes sense.
Unwild Luxury is one of the Famoa is one of the new ones that I've been wanting to explore. This house got a lot of hype last year. X-Ray De Ryan did a video about they did a mango fragrance that got a lot of hype. So this was something this is a house that I found that was really good quality, and I really like their stuff because they're doing something different. They're trying to make gourmand more fresh, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Then I'm heavily influenced by my local perfumery's owner. He is what I would say like my fragrance educator, and a lot of aspects of the industry, how it works, and just insight on a whole bunch of different stuff. So I give a lot of credit to him because a lot of the stuff that you might hear from me, he actually taught. Obviously, I have the green light to repeat, but I think the educational portion that I got from him was huge for me.
Well, and the fragrance community, I imagine, has to be pretty darn great in Miami. I have to assume that you're going to be able to get your nose on pretty much anything you would want there.
I would say yes. I can obviously some like more niche houses is a little bit more difficult. Um,
It's a good question. I bet
yeah,
that he's asking there about kind of how you find some of those more niche brands and things like the exploring.
I dedicate 1 day a week that I'll tell my wife like, hey, I just need to go, and I'll go around the city to my different spots. And typically it's Saturdays because Sundays most things are closed. And I'll go and just go smell a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna take full credit for this fragrance, but I don't think anybody talked about it before I did, and now it's like sold out everywhere. This is Deso Bisson by Givenchy. Givenchy, sorry. Um, you can see the dent. And I remember when I smelt this the first time, and my friend Frankie, who I don't think he's in here, but I was with him and another friend of mine, Zane, and this was one of those fragrances where I smelled a whole bunch of fragrances that day. I put one spray on, one like this, and I was like, yes, this is the one that I've been looking for. And I talked about it a lot, and then it's kind of funny when you go full circle from last year October. If you told me some of my favorite creators follow me, that's the case now. And who knows where they saw the fragrance or where they picked it up from. And now I've seen this fragrance get a lot of hype from a bunch of different creators. So that's like the interesting thing that I've found in doing discovery and going from there. The one thing that I do say I like to stay away from is the constant chase of what's new.
Yes.
Just cause it's new doesn't mean that it's good. I think that's one of the biggest issues in the industry now. that it's very like consumer like, hey, this is the newest thing, this is the newest thing, this is the newest thing. And I used to kind of stay away from that until I started having my audience ask me directly that, hey man, we want to know your opinion on this.
Mhm.
We want to know your thoughts on this, and you want to go from there. And that's when I kind of was like, okay, for my audience, I'll do it. But it's like I'm more of of like a blessed position at that I can basically DM most brands and be like, hey, I want to try this, with the exception of like Amouage or like these S tier houses, and I can basically get it. So that's the benefit of having an audience. And I guess that's like the duty of like great power comes great responsibility. Shout out Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um, and that's, I think, is part of it now that I have to. But it's kind of being able to get that new bottle, being able to sit back and not, you know, pushing everyone to say, yes, you need to go buy this now. Um, have there been times that I'm like, yo, this is one of the best things I've ever smelled? Yeah, this is number 2 on my top 10. And other stuff has moved. This just stays there.
I love that, and it is, and he's right. I mean, as a consumer, it's very tempting to go with the next launch, especially if you're taking in a lot of creator content. I mean, you see it and you get excited about it and you want to do it. And I think that as you get further in the journey and further along, like I've even found myself waiting and be like, you know what, I really want to do that. I'll tell you a big one for me, and I've still not bought the bottle, is Herbs Trablancs by Guerlain. Like I love the smell. I've got samples, love it. I want it, but I'm like, I don't know. Do I really want it that much, or I'm going to drop that much money on that bottle? And
Yeah.
it's I think I've become more. I'm like that. It's still going to be there in a year. Like like I can probably like. Am I really going to keep going back to it or not?
Like, if this is the other thing, is having the mindset to be able to, this is Baltic Freak Absolute. I've had it for a couple of days. I just don't feel like wearing it. And this used to be the other thing where like I would force myself to wear stuff. And I'm like, I kind of want to just wear the stuff I have. When I get to it, I get to it, but it's there, it's sitting. And I purchased this, but
Yeah.
it's like, when it comes to the next hottest thing, it's going to be there a year from now. Like,
That's
okay.
great advice.
Yeah, and then like think about all the hype fragrances from last year that they're
Oh
still there,
gosh.
and
Is it-
they're like one third the price now.
Oh my gosh, they're a third of the price, and even some of the stuff that was out there that we thought was going to be great. And if you paid attention to all the videos and everything that was out there, you think it was the best thing since Dior released whatever XYZ fragrance, and they're really just kind of mid fragrances. And as time, you kind of see that trend kind of fall off there. And I think that's a good point. I think something that's really important for people to know. So we do have a lot of up and coming fragrance content creators who tune in and watch this and get to see some of the other creators in here. So I'm kind of curious, what do you attribute your rise in popularity and kind of gaining here on the platform and doing so well? What are some of the tips and some of the things that you've learned along the way that have really you feel like have helped you get to where you are today? And I'm just curious if you're willing to share any of that, because I do think that a lot of up and comers get a lot of great tips from you guys that are willing to share some of that information.
Yeah, so I definitely, I 1000% will attribute my success to just being myself. I think that's very out there. And I'm not telling you guys that, you have to go dress, like find something exorbitant, but really being yourself and being confident in that, I think it comes across the screen. I don't do like, it's very funny because I was watching some videos and it was like, you need to have like sorry, I'll do it 1 second. It's like, hey guys, this is the new, like, nah, I'm not. I cannot. And I'm very just like, hey guys, I've got this fragrance. This is what I think about it, and just being true to yourself. What I will say, between two main platforms, they operate very differently.
Yeah.
Tinty K, all it cares about is average watch time of that specific video. It doesn't care about your next video. It just cares about the average watch time of that. I don't do that well on TikTok when it comes to single video performance compared to my other platform, IG. IG is a monster in the sense that as you add on followers, they will continue to see your stuff. Me personally, I have like less than half of a account size, you could say, on my Instagram that I do my TikTok. But if you put like, if you put it to my head and you're like, hey man, pick an account that you got to keep and the other one you have to get rid of, I'm picking my other account more than this platform.
Yep.
this platform messes with me a lot. Like
Same.
I yeah, I'm so, like I wouldn't get on live if it wasn't for you. Like I don't even do it anymore because I've gotten reprimanded by it so many times now.
Yeah, it's silly. I mean, we got restricted early on. We don't have many people in here, and that's fine because again, I record this and we're going to put it up on the tube of view. So any of you that are in here that didn't catch it all, you're gonna be able to see it there. There'll be a link up tomorrow when we get it up there. And I've contemplated this a lot. And I think I even when I reached out to you is like I have come. I don't know if you know Riverside, the platform Riverside, but it's a good podcasting platform where I kind of call it the unofficial Zoom of kind of podcasting, but it's a really great platform. You just lose the live audience, right? You kind of lose that piece of it. But I don't know if that's always important, right? And I think some content creators, that's actually some of the bigger content creators probably would do an interview and would talk about things, but they don't really want that live interaction. Like that scares them away a little bit because they don't know who's going to come in there and say what and try to troll them and everything else. And that's where I think that sometimes the platforms are different. I like this just because we do have some people here that have been with me the entire time, and I know they really enjoy it, and we get some really thoughtful questions. But yeah, it's difficult, and I agree with you. I've had this battle over the last probably 2 months of really deciding where I want to be in the future, what platform, what does it look like, and I still don't have the answer. I'm sure you don't either.
Yeah. And coming back to the question, lighting is huge. I will die on that hill. Lighting is more important than camera, in my opinion. If you have a good camera and bad lights, like if you look at my setup right now and you look at my setup when I turn on with the slightly better camera and box lights, it looks completely different.
Yep.
I don't know if you still hear Will Frag, yeah, basically helped me orchestrate my whole setup, and it literally like completely changed it. At the same time, I wouldn't say you need good lighting to be successful. I do really think that if you're able to articulate and you're able to offer something that the audience wants, you're able to succeed. And there's two, I guess, when you look at fragrance talk, there's two types of creators: dopamine rush game type creators, and they will do better on views just because you don't per se have to like fragrance to watch those videos, right? And then you look into the side where it's more hardcore reviews and just like, hey guys, today we're talking about this fragrance. I'm guilty of only being the one on the right hand side and not understanding the fruits of the stuff on the left hand side, right? Being able to mix that in your own unique sense, it transfers. At the same time, the best, like all my videos that have gone viral on TTK, it's usually always standard. You're in education, crazy, statement right here, and then just explain that, boom, and it works.
Yeah, it's like a formula, right? That through it's like this formal way that kind of hits. And that's the thing. It's also been a little disheartening for me is that some of lately that have been probably the most best performing have been the things that have been the most controversial, and I don't love that either. That I have to say something pretty controversial, or I have to talk about some controversy that's going on, whether it's implied or real, to get my numbers up. That
Yeah.
feels a little weird too.
Yeah, I'm very anti getting involved in politics and drama, except for one asset, when it comes to just like sanctity of life. If you're in politics in the sense of where you're disregarding life, whatever side the person might be on, that's where I will have a political opinion and go say something about it. And if it gets I've come to the full belief that even if I do say something that I wholeheartedly believed in and it gets my account deleted, I no regrets.
Yeah,
Because this
and
is
that goes back to your core beliefs.
yeah, man. Like I definitely agree that if push comes to shove, I think I can hit my follower count in less than half the time that I did the first time. I don't think it's that hard.
Isn't it funny how that happens? Like how you learn and you realize at the time you're like, oh, I got this all figured out, and you learn how much you learn along the way, and then you're like, man, if I would do this so differently if I ever started over today.
Yeah, and then the one of the most important points is that I would mention is make sure you just say what you want. As like I tell people, like we are not in the era of, hey, my name is Murad. I live in Miami, and today we're going to talk about this fragrance. No, like, hey, this fragrance is something that changed my opinion on perfumery. Like, say something like that. Chances are you're going to go into it and have a better retention. Because I will die on the hill that your likes don't count, your comments don't matter as much as average retention time.
That watch time is so huge. Well, that's one of the things that other creators have told me. They're like, "Hey, you want to help?" Because I usually ask people, "I'll ask you here in a minute, like, what can we do to help you?" And a lot of times people say, "You know what you could really do to help me is every time my video comes up, watch it all the way through, maybe twice. That would be great. Like, watch it all the way through for me. That would probably be the best thing you could do for me."
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed, Dean, to be honest. Like, I would say if you enjoy my content, just let me know what you enjoyed. I really like. I could care less about watch time. I've had some beautiful DMs these past couple weeks where it's like, Murad, I really appreciate the way you explained this. You're not trying to be so complex in your explanation, and it's just to the point. Like, and I was going through a patch people see the account numbers and they see the view numbers, and I was literally going through this on Sunday, and I was like, or maybe no, it was actually Friday of last week. I'm like, am I really doing a good job uh, of the responsibility that I have in having an audience? And I was questioning that a lot. I reached out to a couple of friends of mine, and then that DM that came through really brought me back. And I was like, you know what? Because I batch record. I full-time job plus other responsibilities. It's very difficult. I would love to do like one video a day in a dream world, but I basically batch record on a day, put it on a Google Drive, and have my editor just go through it. He just sends it to me throughout the week. Um, that's the point that I'm at. I would highly, highly recommend to everyone that if you find yourself not being as consistent and you make a decent amount of money in your day job and you can do the math on how much you get paid hourly versus how much time you're spending editing. And if you can, if depending on the cost and how much you make and how much you're willing to invest back into it, I think it makes sense. For me, like the X $100 amounts that I pay per month for an editor that does a way better job than I did is worth it in my opinion.
No,
For
it's such a great point, and it's something I've thought about even as somebody growing because I do have a full time job. Obviously, working at the university, I'm busy, and I've got a lot of different things going on. I've got two young children too, right? So there's a lot going on in life, and I don't obviously I do a lot of this late at night when they're sleeping, just because I don't want to take away that's my priority, and I think about that a lot, and I think that resources wise for editors, do you obviously you have whoever you're helping you, but do you have any tips on people if they want to look into that, what they should do or how they should go about trying to find an editor that they could work with that would help them, that maybe is more affordable if they're starting out?
I'm very fortunate. I get flooded with requests like, "Hey, do you need an editor?" This that. I did go through trial and error with a couple of them. There was
Sure.
one guy that his price point was amazing. It was like $5 a video, but I realized he didn't really speak English. So doing subtitles when you don't speak a language is pretty difficult.
Sure.
So I was like, this is taking more time, me correcting him, telling him what to fix. So I would say the cheapest option really isn't always the best. And there's sites that you can use. Fiverr is a big one that you can
Sure.
find people. I work with someone that's not based in the US. So the dollar amounts that he's getting is really beneficial and life changing for him. At the same time, it's a lower cost, for me. I pay sub $10 per video, and
Yeah.
that helps me a lot and it gets me going through it. And he does stuff that I would not know how to do. And even his mind when it comes to editing and where to zoom in, where to zoom out, where to clip, where to do an overlay, he does it way better than I do.
Yeah.
So
And
he
that's
adds,
smart. I
yeah.
mean, he adds value, and that's exactly you going back to what you've talked about being smart with your money and thinking about your time and your value of your time and all those things that come into that. I mean, I think that's so wise and smart to think about it more that way. And you kind of hit on that. Think about how much time you're spending on video editing and just kind of all the background stuff. Is it worth your time or not? And I think that's a great way to look at it. So that's good advice for anyone that's listening along that might be thinking about that.
Mhm. Yeah, man, it's been a crazy ride. I started my first video was I think September 21 of 20. We're in 2026, right?
We
2025.
are.
So I'm closing in on a year now, basically, and I would have never guessed.
Well, I'm looking at your top videos right now. Some of your top videos, and it is like the number one video is 164,000 plays, and that's the one that you're talking about, that fragrance that was just in front of you right right now, where you were talking about some of the different fragrances in your collection. But I think you talked about that Giovanni fragrance that was in
Yes,
that video.
my most viral video is me saying I don't like Athena Supremacy Collector's Edition, and I got ran through on that video.
You know, it's so funny. I don't like it either. Like I've sold that one, and like I've got like but I love I love the legacy. The who did that one?
Mason
Mason
Azar,
Nazar. Yeah,
the blue
love
ball.
it. Love that one.
Yeah, so it's funny. Like and dude, I'm telling you that video, people came at my throat. I mentioned that I wore it to the gym. They're like, what gym?
Like no, like we're not going there.
Dude, I'm
Miami's
telling
a
you,
big place,
it
thank
was
goodness.
crazy. And that video took me from less than 1,000 to 2 to 3,000 in the matter of a month. That one video. And if you can find that video later on, you'll see that it's me standing up next to my early videos. Well, my first couple of ones, I was too scared to put my face on. Then I did like this weird angle where you can see my face in the glass. And then after that, for the longest time, no microphone, nothing. I'm standing next to my wife's makeup stand.
I see it. You're holding the bottle. You're holding the bottle by the circle
Yeah.
that's in the top there, and you're standing up. Yeah, I definitely I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got almost 300,000 likes on it, 300,000 views.
Yeah, and then people are like, I remember one guy was like, "Why you have the fragrances in the bathroom?" I'm like, well, "How does this look like a bathroom?" It's
I'm
crazy.
looking at your 611 comments right now. Yeah, they're coming for you there for sure. Yeah, what gym do you go to exactly?
There's one where the guy puts like his gym and it's like KFC.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Murad, yeah, I told you I'd keep you to an hour. We're about at that point right now. I really appreciate your time that you've been able to come on here and talk to us a little bit and kind of talk about your journey to get to know you a little bit better. But I do want to give you the last word and kind of, want you to be able to talk about anything that you want to. What's next for you? How can people again continue to support you? You had mentioned, letting you know when they like something. What's next and what can people do to support you?
So I guess the dream, and I'm very slowly approaching this, is becoming a creative director for my own brand. Um, that's I'm not there yet. I've messed around with a couple different things and just really having a mind for it. I don't think what's up, Phoenix? How's everything? I don't think I'm at the level where I think I can construct my own fragrance, but being able to go to someone and being like, here's my vision, here's what I want in a fragrance, here's how I think this can work really well. And it's something that I think will do well. And I've tested it out with this. I realized the impact my voice has when I put my name on something. And I just really want to keep the caliber up there. The other fragrance that I showed you, I went through about it was months of testing. And until I gave the green light, I got that. And then I remember getting the smell profile, but I was like, I told the person that I was working with, I was like, man, I don't really like the longevity on this. Like, if I'm going to put my name on it, I need it to last longer. Obviously, you get some harshness because of that. When you add ISO Super or something like that, or a Broxton into a fragrance, it gives it a little bit harshness. Like Rayhan Azul. Most people hate it because of the harshness in the opening, but I'm like, that's why you get crazy longevity. So it's like, which one do you want? But overall, support wise, and I just think community wise is, if I'm doing something good, let me know. If I'm doing something bad, tell me. That's
Keep
what I
being
want.
yourself. keep being yourself. That's my advice, because you do come across so well, and you're so authentic and genuine in a space that you don't always know if you're getting that. And I think that would be my little 2 cents. But thank you for being yourself and for what you're doing. And I would say that I hope you'll come back, especially when you do have those brand deals going and you have those fragrances, because those are some of my favorite interviews, is when we actually get to talk to the creative directors and the perfumers. I had a great interview, Andre, with Ormond Obscura. I've had some good conversations with him. I've had some really good conversations with Teddy the Perfumer on the House of Cosmo, and some of the things that they've done, and even his line on Teddy the Perfumer. So we really do enjoy talking to that piece of the game too. So I can't wait to have you back and talk about your fragrance once you feel like it's ready to go and you get it launched.
Yeah, got it, man. Thank you so much, Dean, for your time. Thank you for everyone that joined. I really appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining Frag Talk Live Midweek Edition. We're here every Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. If you have a recommendation for somebody you'd like us to talk to, definitely let us know who that would be. I'm always looking for good recommendations on great people. Hard to beat this guest right here that we have today, and I've really enjoyed getting to know him better, and I know that we'll continue to do that in the future. Continue to like and share, and continue to follow me for the next interview for next week. And then we're also here Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. for the community show. That's where we kind of welcome anybody up in a box, and we talk about all the things kind of going on in the fragrance world, any new releases, anything we want to talk about fragrance related. So those are the two shows I do, Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings. So I hope that you'll join us again for a future video. Got Murad, thank you, sir. Have a great evening. Thank you all in the chat. Thank you for all the likes, loves, and gifts. And we will see you again next week. Take care, everybody.
Cheers, man.